Come on in. Welcome to Idled Out, where we talk all things Survivor. My name is Luke, and today we're talking about Survivor twists that backfired on the very producers who implemented them. Yes, today we're talking about Survivor twists that did not have the intended or hoped for outcome by production, at least as far as I can see it. Please keep in mind, I wasn't there, I wasn't in these rooms, so a lot of this is me reading between the lines on what production probably wanted to happen. Again, I'm not on the production team, this is just my own speculation. You'll know I'm in charge of Survivor production when we finally get the long-awaited Bob Dog and Danger Dave captain season. Hell yeah!
Baseball your sport?
No, making love's my sport.
You play a lot?
Not often enough.
Finally, we aren't necessarily talking about twists that were bad or even necessarily overly impactful in the game. Just ones that probably were concocted with a desired outcome of A and instead resulted in the much less desirable outcome B. So put on your immunity necklaces, get a clue, and drop your expectations as we talk about 5 Survivor twists that blew up in the producers' faces. At number 5 is the 2 immunity twist at the final 8 of Survivor Worlds Apart. Let's start with a little one for which you may need to put on your tinfoil hat. Tinfoil hat's affixed? Okay, at the final 8 of Worlds Apart, the likable No Callers plus Mike alliance was down to just Shireen plus Mike, outnumbered by the monolithic Axis of Evil. Yes, that is what they called themselves. An alliance where the 2 most likable people are a guy who was completely invisible and the woman who married Joe Englem. Yeah, production probably did not want to have to pull a Dan Foley winner's edit out of their asses. The final 8 immunity is Wrist Assured, the classic endurance challenge where players have to hold 25% of their pre-game body weight. Last one left standing wins. Except there's a twist this time. For no reason at all, there will be 2 immunity necklaces. One for the last man left standing and one for the last woman. Mike had already proven his immunity prowess and was the odds-on favorite to win, but this gave Shireen a 1 in 3 shot to stay in the game alongside him, which would force the Axis of Evil to finally turn on themselves. It's so simple. Why didn't Donald Rumsfeld think of this? Idiot. Individual immunity had had 2 winners, one for men and one for women, before. But anytime it had happened previously, it had been the first individual immunity of the season, not smack dab in the middle of the post-merge. Last-ditch effort to ensure Mike and Shireen survive, or the plan all along. I could go either way on it, but it does raise an eyebrow. Nevertheless, Shireen did not win the challenge and was promptly voted out later that evening. Not the biggest backfire in Survivor history, for sure, but a situation where fingers were probably crossed that the 2 underdogs would win the 2 immunity necklaces, which they did not. Better get cracking on that Dan Foley winner's edit, boys. At number 4 is the Island of the Idols in Survivor, Island of the Idols. While the season ultimately became consumed by Creepy Dan's inappropriate behavior towards Kelly, the original idea behind this season's main twist and theme was a corny but weirdly lovable one. Players visit the Island of the Idols where they meet Survivor royalty Rob and Sandra and learn a lesson on how to be great survivors. I can already hear the boos, but whatever, we're 20 years into this show. Let them go nuts. 9 players, nearly half of the cast, ultimately made their way to the titular island for these Survivor strategy sessions, which included being taught such crucial Survivor skills like stealing fire from the other tribe at night and answering trivia about Rob and Sandra. Oh, you don't know Sandra's dog's name? Sorry, we are actually going to have to take your vote. While the Island of the Idols is obviously delivered with a massive and knowing wink, the idea that picking the brains of Survivor royalty and passing their tests will make you a better Survivor player probably had a shade of truth, though in some cases the only direction to go was up. Of the final 5, Dean, Nora, Lauren, and Janet had all made their trip to the Island of the Idols. The only endgamer not to visit Rob and Sandra Island was Tommy, who of course went on to handily win the season in a near unanimous vote, thereby completely negating the season's primary conceit. Whoopsie. At number 3 is the idle clue twist in Survivor Blood vs. Water. In Blood vs. Water, players who were voted out were sent to Redemption Island, where every few days, 3 players would compete in the inaccurately named 3-way duels to stay in the game. First place is an idle clue to give to a player of your choice. Second place is a set of steak knives. Third place is you're fired. I always really like when players win the ability to give knowledge or some sort of soft power to other players in the game. It's a fun twist which could be used in a number of different ways by the players. Do you give the clue to your loved one, hoping they'll find an idol on their own for protection? Maybe you go the other way and give an idle clue to one of your enemies, hoping to paint a target on their back. Maybe you use it to barter for protection should you re-enter the game. There are so many fun and creative ways gifting idle clues can shake out, and players in the arena did try to use these clues strategically at first, but after Candace gave a clue to her husband John and he was voted out, it quickly became clear that public clues were a liability. And the next round, Monica burned the clue given to her by John at Brad's behest. From then on, the clue culture became for the recipient to just instantly and publicly burn the clue to avoid the heat. This happened over and over and over, and even when Laura Moret won her way back into the game proper at the merge and received an idle clue for all her hard work, she still tossed it into the fire. This continued into the post-merge as well, though Katie briefly opted not to burn the clue, only for Sierra to resume burning the clue the next round.
The game, biatch.
At a certain point, this just became a predictable inevitability, but it couldn't really be cut out either, resulting in a bland, overstuffed arena segment in a season already overstuffed with Redemption Island. It's like a Survivor turducken. At number 2 is the fake merge in Survivor Thailand. Get that tinfoil hat back out, because my guess is that the fake merge in Thailand probably had the intended effect of giving Sukjai a fighting chance in the game, only to instead doom them, and more importantly, us, to a long and boring Thailand pagonging. But first, watch how Jeff expertly deploys this twist. It's genuinely perfectly executed, tricking the players with clever wordplay, preying on their expectations of a merge at 10, without lying to them directly. This is the last time they could get away with anything like this.
Today, something very different is happening. The 2 tribes will now live together on one beach.
I never would have expected our merge to have gone as smoothly as it has.
You said merge.
Yes.
I certainly didn't say anything to give you that impression, did I? What I said to you guys when you left is something very different's about to happen. 2 tribes will live together on the same beach.
No jokes here. Absolutely brilliant. Well done, probes. Now, the tinfoil hat theory is that this twist was implemented because it was far more likely that a tribe with Pen and Penny on it would win immunity than a tribe with Jan and Clay on it. And at this point in the season, it was clear that, boring as they were, Sukjai were the far more rootable tribe. Furthering this theory is that the final 9 tribal immunity challenge is a version of Last Gasp, bizarrely retrofitted to be a TV-unfriendly team challenge, where the team with the most cumulative time spent underwater wins. Oh no, it's okay, Brian. You can stay down there. However, whether intended to give Sukjai a leg up or not, the fake merge backfired with surprise back-to-back losses for Sukjai. And when the actual merge happened at Final 8, Chewigon just picked off the remaining Sukjais, resulting in 7 of their 8 members being eliminated in a row in the most yawn-inducing pagonging this side of Redemption Island. Which, hey, at least had the dignity to shove 5 boots into 3 episodes. At number 1 is the second Edge of Extinction re-entry on Survivor Edge of Extinction. This reheated version of Redemption Island saw voted out players earn their way back into the game at 2 points, the Merge and the Final 5, upgrading the finale from a Final 5 to a Final 6. The Edge was designed as a harsh place where food is scarce, Reem yells at you all day, and cameras are just way, way too close. Was the Edge of Extinction designed solely and specifically to benefit Joe, one of the most popular players in Survivor history at that point? A guy preternaturally good at Survivor challenges and who just so happened to be on this very season? No, but I'm sure it came up. However, not only did Joe not win his way back into the game at the finale, the third freaking boot did. This man, who is named... Wait for the Chiron here. Chris! Chris came back into the game. This blew up in production's face because Chris won by taking out the clear audience favorite. Rick Devens was the breakout star of Survivor Edge of Extinction, a guy who out-Davided David Wright in rootability. Meanwhile, prior to his re-entry, Chris was probably like the 14th most memorable member of this cast. Chris would probably be in the Brianna Varela Hall of Fame of Forgotten Players, if not for his re-entry. And when he won, it forced production to edit a story where the winner is absent from episodes 4 through 12, while simultaneously and single-handedly taking down a guy who would have been one of the most popular and crowd-pleasing winners of all time at the 11th hour. Now, I actually think they did a pretty good job at telling this story, all things considered. But if the Edge stopped at the merge, the season's twist probably pays even bigger dividends when Rick wins his way to the end of the game and probably makes Final Tribal Council where he cleans house. You know what, though? It still beats the alternative universe where Joey Amazing is in this spot. Got nothing else for ya. Don't let this video backfire on me. Like and subscribe and I'll get you more Survivor content just like this. Until next time, don't get idled out.